anyway, a brief introduction about me. I'm a speech and language therapist, currently working in the NHS in Cambridge. Um, and also just a brief, like really brief overview of my a background about me. Okay. Anyway, so I used to study here in the UK for my undergraduate degree at University of Reading. I did language sciences and psychology. That was back in 2016. And with that being said, it means that during that time, I spent 3 Ramadans in the UK summer. And then I went back to Malaysia, worked for a bit, and came back to the UK to do my master's. And during Ramadan, it was springtime. I was doing my clinical placements. So that's kind of like an internship kind of thing. And now I am finally experiencing Ramadan as a proper working professional. Yeah, so there are two things that I wanted to share with you today. So one is a brief reflection on the differences between experiencing Ramadan when I was a student and comparing it to now that I am working. And then second one is like just a few tips or top tips that helped me to go through Ramadan, and I hope that will be beneficial to you too. So okay, so one of not yet, still the first one. Thank you. So one of the biggest differences was one, right now it's not summer. I could vividly recall having to fast for more than 19 hours in the hot UK summer. So suhoor back then was at 2 a.m. and then breaking fast was at 9 p.m. ish. So it was a different set of challenges. Alhamdulillah, I was able to experience that, and I was able to like compare the then experience and now experience. I would say that we're quite lucky that it is spring now, shorter days. Next, what I realized is that when you're a student, you have more autonomy over your time. So of course you have classes, you have to do revision for your exams, and usually like when I was a student, summer was the time for exams, so we were packed with exams and stuff. But in a way, you still have a lot more flexibility in terms of arranging your schedule. So that might have been something that I took granted for. Now, as I am working, I have numerous stakeholders to answer to, and taking breaks isn't as simple as it used to be. I can't just pause my work to read the Quran or do sunnah prayers whenever I like. But in a way, this has been like quite beneficial to me because this has forced me to be more intentional about how I manage my time in Ramadan. So like back then I had more flexibility, but now, like meetings, deadlines, I have to see patients, doing other responsibilities. So I need to be more mindful about where I put my time in. And I mentioned just now that I was working I worked in Malaysia as well. So when I could also see the difference between working in the UK and back in Malaysia, where everyone was more understanding of the practices in Ramadan in Malaysia. Like, okay, it's Ramadan, everyone goes back 1 hour early. Everyone can take a break. Let's like read Quran together in Malaysia. But like over here is very different. And that being said, I found ways to adapt and make the most of this blessed month while balancing work, or rather like my plan as well to, or what I will do in the coming months. So this brings me to share with you the second thing, which is my top tips for going through Ramadan as a working professional in the UK. Can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so sorry, I am on my iPad, so I can't really see people. All right, okay, so here are a few tips. Firzana and also Amir have already mentioned a bit. I'm just gonna touch a bit that's not been mentioned. I mean, it will be a bit repetitive, but I promise you there will be some new stuff. Okay, the first one is always ensure that you have enough nutrition and hydration throughout the day. So like Amir said, suhoor is really important. I tend to think like, especially like now that I am working, I don't know if like other working professionals could resonate with this or not. Like there is a lot of like energy taken out from you when you're working. So making sure that you have enough for suhoor is really important. What I find really beneficial was incorporating susu kurma in my diet. This is I use like Cairo Amin's recipe. It was really beneficial because it helped me stay hydrated throughout the day, and also I felt really well nourished. Also about food, ensure that you drink loads throughout the day. There's like an outline, a guide by KKM, like how to ensure that you are well hydrated throughout the day during Ramadan. You can Google that. And then I'd also really recommend to bring water and dates or any snacks that you have wherever with you, just in case that, you know, when breakfasting time comes, you might be like stuck in traffic or stuck in like train delays or stuff, then you already have something to help you break the fast. And as what Mr. Rushdi said earlier, like we need to make sure that we break the fast as fast as we can. Next, something that I have practiced in my like clinical placements before this, and also in the work that I do now, is like I would encourage you to speak to your line manager about workplace arrangements that you will need. So this means that try to look in the policy if there are like flexible working hours, or if you could you know, like managing expectations throughout the day of your work or of your work day. So for example, like I know that by, for example, like lunchtime or by like 2 p.m. I'll be like really drained in terms of my energy level. So I can't really like focus much. So maybe like ensuring that all the meetings are scheduled early on in the day instead of like later. And something that I did as well, like we in NHS, we have this flexible hours working policy. So I could change my work pattern. So I know that, so for now, like I would finish work by like 4:30, but I would only reach home by Maghrib. So I want to make sure that, okay, in this Ramadan, I could really like prepare myself, making sure that I'm ready to break fast, you know, like that time just before breaking fast as well is like really, really mustajab for to make your du'as. So I've like also shifted that. So I think like having a conversation with your line manager or your manager, your supervisors, that's really important for you to have. And it's a tip that if you haven't done so, it's still not too late because we're just starting Ramadan. And then time management, which kind of links to the make a to-do list schedule as well. I would really encourage you to make a routine, because it's really easy to slip through the time and like, oh, whoa, the day has gone, like you didn't even realize it. So if you do a routine, and you'll know like, okay, what do I need to do today? Checklist. And also, for example, like now that we're fasting, we don't have to eat during the lunch break. So what can you do during that lunch break to make sure that you optimize your time and do all the necessary things towards, you know, towards being conscious that this is Ramadan, where we need to like get all the rewards that we can. So one of the things that you can do, or what I do that maybe you can follow as well, I would try to like do the Fagullah nap at that time, and pray. And I don't I don't bring the Quran to work just because like everyone puts their bags down on the floor. So what I tend to do is I just like put a reminder on my notes app. Okay, what was the last ayah and last surah that I read, so that when I go to work, I can just open my phone. I like to use Quran.com and then just recite Quran from there. So it's something that maybe you can also benefit from. What next tip is I keep a tasbih beads or a digital counter, something like that looks like this. If you have one, great, you can use it. If you don't have one, probably there's an app that you can download on your phone. So I walk to work. So it's like a 40-minute walk to work. And you'll be surprised how much you can do zikir or istighfars throughout that 40 minute. Try it once and then tell me if it is like beneficial to you or not, because yeah, you can use that time to do those, and also like for me, from my office to the wards to see patients is quite a distance as well. So having this really small but powerful tool is really, really helpful. Next is plan iftar with friends or go to your local mosque. So for example, I don't know if you have a family here, but I do know that a lot of my friends came to the UK or like came to overseas alone by themselves. So it's really beneficial to, just be with other people, be in the presence of other people's companionships, and it will really make a difference in your Ramadan. Sharing food, sharing all the experiences. That's really a good way to practice Ramadan here. Do tarawih at the mosque, sadaqah, and the last but not least on this slide is keep in touch with your family and friends. Again, like it could be a bit lonely if you're living alone, if you're a bit further away from other Muslim communities. So just try to keep in touch with family and friends through like maybe like FaceTiming them or any other video calls, mediums that you can do, because yeah, it does make a big difference. And if you don't have anyone, don't worry, you can talk to me. So yeah, just putting it out there, but don't message me. I'm bad at replying to messages. Yeah, so that's on this slide, and I can go to the last. Okay, and lastly, what I would really highly recommend people to do is to be an advocate for yourself. So this means that you need to be able to say that, to other people that, hey, I'm observing Ramadan and this is what my expectation, this is what I will need, or this is like just creating an awareness to other people, because we're living in a non-Muslim populated world, country. So some people might not understand like what Ramadan means, or they know like, oh, okay, you're fasting, you're not eating or drinking, but that's just it. Like they don't know like maybe like around like energy levels or such stuff like that. And also being an advocate is really important as well, to like raise awareness as well. I'm sure all of you have also received some like comments like, not even water. So like those kind of things, like that's a really good medium, that's a really good opportunity for you to educate your friends or your colleagues about like, okay, hey, this is what Ramadan means, and no, we can drink water, from what time to what time, blah blah blah, and so on. So take that opportunity for you to spread Islam, spread about Ramadan, and hopefully other people will like see the beauty of Ramadan. And I didn't put here, but also something that maybe you can do is like invite people to like try the practices. Maybe like if you're really close to them and if they don't mind, that you can say something like, hey, Ramadan's next week, do you want to like try fasting or something like that? Or maybe just like bring dates to the office, just for them to like feel like, oh, okay, it's Ramadan. And yeah, it helps build like a very friendly and warm environment in the office as well. What else have I not said? Yeah, and also I think like by being an advocate, you also help for like future Muslim colleagues as well. So my experience, like for example, like when I was on clinical placement, I was the first Muslim student to be there. So they don't know like, okay, for one thing, like I needed to be bare below elbows, but actually now we have disposable sleeves, so they could order disposable sleeves for me. And then because I asked for that, and then they're like, okay, for the next Muslim student, we now have this in place. So you might not realize it, but you can definitely make a difference. So yeah, So that's it from me.